Most certainly. Kind of taking a look here. Prior to this, JonnyLink had gotten to this point by besting Ares Fire Tiger 3-0 in the best of five. And that was after, as you had mentioned, falling from the upper end of the bracket to the number one seed, CHX 42, after a victory 3-1 over Ladab. But we'll get more into that later here as we have our runners here in Arena 1.
Both get synced up there with the timers. Pretty simple, as you may have seen before if you watch any of these runs. It's all about just holding some fire lines. Sometimes you use that razor shield that you manipulate for to do a little offense for you. And if you get out around 40 seconds, a little less, that's all good. 39 for JonnyLink, not too bad. 42 for Sigma, so just a bit behind.
Yep, Arena 1 having roughly 100 or so of those green foot soldiers. But now heading here into collect power-ups, it's about getting those guides to assist here. You want to look for rockets, as we see here on JonnyLink's side. You also, well, we've got more rockets as well. But ideally, they're looking for that blue orb, which will help double their firepower as it kind of orbits the individuals here. And Sigma picking up the orb and dancing back in the middle here. You can see the firepower increasing. Wants to avoid that grenade that's there, as that shortens up the firepower. It's kind of a short-range weapon.
Yeah, you want to avoid those grenades if you do have the orb. Just puts that orb at a little bit more risk. And unfortunately, kind of being in the center there, wasn't able to really command the center lane as well, along with JonnyLink getting those rockets. We'll get out a little bit earlier. But here we go into Eat My Shrapnel. Both are runners here. Orb on Sigma side, though.
Yep. 18 of the Mr. Shrapnels. They'll be slowly lumbering their way out of the door, but only up to 4 can appear on screen at a time, so it's a timed room. And you also have these purple and green foot soldiers to deal with as well. And yeah, you can see here Sigmafan taking out the majority of the foot soldiers, just waiting for those shrapnel to make their way through. And once the 18 are done, then Sigma is going to make her way over to the right for the end of the room at about a 207, and with that has taken the lead. And that just shows you the importance and significance of that orb. JonnyLink still looking for one, is going to get a razor shield, but most of it gets eaten up there by the shrapnel in the corner. Oh, how unfortunate.
Yeah, that's a tough drop because, yeah, he hasn't seen it. Although, as it does get the orb, now needs to pick it up. Is able to kind of retreat to the center.
Oh
Unfortunately,
no.
just can't get back to the center. That is a tough go right there. Unfortunate spots as far as where that, how that razor spawned, and then, yeah, getting that orb and trying to retreat and get back in. That was just a tough go right there.
Now a razor shield on the feet in the middle along with rockets. The Moloch flowing there for JonnyLink. Sigma, meanwhile, just continuing to hold the middle. There was a spreader in the upper end, but she wouldn't have been able to get to it because the razor shield, well, it kind of pushes you away from the wall a little bit there, so it would have been out of reach. And Sigma, with a nice time heading out here, going to be into the bonus room at a 305. JonnyLink trying to just hold on as best as possible, and with the rockets here is going to be out about 12 seconds behind at a 317. But tank trouble coming up, well, that is one of the two great equalizers, as the spawn rate is akin to what you would see in the third arena of normal percent. So a lot of enemies rolling through here. You see there's the two wall gunners, there's going to be tanks as well, shrapnel, just all things firing in all different directions here. And as I say that, Sigma taking a death to a shrapnel. Commentator's curse on my part. I'm a jerk.
Oh no, you're not, Berg. That's just
Yeah.
kind of the trouble of it. It is having that orb is a great item to have, but it's so easy to lose it in this room if you don't get the weapon support. You could just easily kind of get one of those foot soldiers a little loose, and they get in your grill. JonnyLink being able to float those rockets, able to take out the gunners, sometimes a little bit more advantageous position. You're not even worrying about losing an orb because you don't have one. Dealing with the rockets there though is able to do a little bit of dancing, just holding that middle. Grenades on Sigmafan side. So Sigma will be getting out of this first, but I think JonnyLink closes up a little bit of time potentially. Oh no, actually, they're still going here. Actually, this is a still significant lead, maybe a little bit less.
Did take off a couple of seconds. It is about a 9-second differential from entering Mutoid Man. The final boss of Easy Percent here has numerous forms. With that orb, is going to attempt a ball buster and does get it, landing pretty much on the nape of the neck of Mutoid Man. It takes basically 42% or 3/7 of a form of damage. Something like that.
It's worth it unless you have a really ideal spreader. Then you could really even care less about it. JonnyLink did get the spreader there though, so is going to be able to pop the arm. God has this even on forms right now. Still has those two front gunners, but has popped the chest and is actually pulled slightly ahead
By about a second or so, but yeah, it's trying to dodge those gunners that are still on the still on Mutoid Man. Now is gonna try to get rid of them here with the grenades as the head pops off on, well, now both sides here, and consistent rocket fire. Yeah, that spreader, if you're able to kind of get that into the side, it does numerous forms of damage. Sigma seeing a spreader.
drop.
This is going to be close.
Yeah,
Does
we'll be
get it.
good.
Mutoid Man rolling away though. Final
Not the most
form for
ideal.
Sigma.
Decent transfer damage, but I don't know if this spreader might come close here. No, that's going to be another death right there. Johnny with grenades gets it to final form as well.
Empty
Needs a
drop
drop.
on
Empty
Sigma.
drop.
The grenades,
Oh.
just needed like one shot, but Sigmafan is going to take race number 1 here with a good 6-2x and not too far behind. JonnyLink looks like it'll probably be pretty similar here. I think it was a 620, yeah, high 624, and this is going to be about a 634. So yeah, maybe losing about a second did JonnyLink in Mutoid Man. So all told, it was yeah, roughly about 9-10 seconds difference.
Yeah, JonnyLink able to cut in a little bit. That early spreader really worked out. Got within a form, actually started to pull ahead a little bit there. Did still have to take care of the gunners though, and that's always going to be a concern. Like you could leave those going for a little bit, but eventually you do want to take care of them a little bit. And that timing right there, some empty drops, and Sigma getting that late spreader ends up pulling ahead right there. It was close. The empty drops almost made it. That's a single drop away right there from it going the other way. But Sigma is able to pull down. She's going to take it and go up 1-0 here.
Yep, but it's a one race at a time thing, and you know, 1 down, 2 to go for Sigmafan. JonnyLink looking to even the score up here in race number 2. So the runners are currently setting up. There is a manipulation that can be done, the only manipulation that we know of for the game, where if you let the kind of let the credits do its thing in the beginning, and it sets up a 2-player normal game. As it goes to the screen here, pretty much right as they say go, or even a little bit before, if you hit start at that point and then make your selection, you're guaranteed to start off with a Razor Shield as the first drop in Arena 1.
Yeah, it's funny. It's not the biggest time loss, and it's obviously just the first room, so it's only going to be a little bit of time usually anyways. But just getting that Razor Shield, it's the only comfort we have in this run, really. Otherwise, it's just RNG and a complete mess. So if we could do a little something consistently, like get a Razor Shield to start this room, I think we should. It's the one thing we got. We got to hold on to it.
Most certainly. So here we go in Arena 1, 100 or so green soldiers. It varies a little bit toward the end, and as you see the runners get to that 52,000 score, that's right around when the end of the room could be. Sometimes I think it has up to, 8 additional soldiers, depending on the RNG?
Yeah, it's always funny with those spawns, and it's like sometimes I almost feel like there's times where I've kind of missed a foot soldier that I'm usually meant to shoot in the early part. And for some reason, it's like, oh, then it gives me the favorable spawns later on. And I get like 39s in that room when I usually get like 40s or 41s. Always funny how stuff works like that.
Yeah, there were, I believe, 3 extra soldiers in Sigmafan's room, as there was a score differential of 1,500 points. You kind of use that as a guide, and that's really the last you need to worry about the score in this here. As now, wow, the rich getting richer. Sigmafan with both the orb and rockets. Rockets for JonnyLink now to try to mitigate the damage here.
Yeah, rockets, you'll be able to float that. Does get a spreader going out of the room, but yeah, Sigma getting the rockets with the orb. Very, very nice right there. Here we go with the early spot and more rockets. It's still working out for Sigma here.
Yeah, what was about a 2-second deficit heading into collect power-ups is now a 2-second lead into Eat My Shrapnel.
But yeah, Johnny with the orb on his side now, so pretty much evened up. Should be able to hold center just fine. Razor on Sigma's side. That'll give you a little bit of ease, but the foot soldiers were already done at that point, so probably looking to break it on one of the shrapnel here potentially to not have it in the way. Maybe not. Just has to avoid those grenades that ended up dropping almost on the feet.
And now about a 206 versus a 208.5. Probably, yeah, about a 2.5 second. Pretty much a negligible change in lead heading into total carnage.
Negligible indeed right there. As we see a key on Sigma's side, nothing to grab. Johnny has to kind of avoid a smart bomb there. It's not going to pick it up. Could have helped clear out the room a little bit. You do have a couple shrapnel out there. Now you have 3, but decide to just hold that center, keep those firing lanes going, and not lose a little time because the respawns here. A key again on Johnny's side, getting absolutely nothing. Sigma does get a razor shield, so going to be able to hold that center just fine here in total carnage.
Spreader's going to help here for JonnyLink as, yeah, holding the center, keeping the orb, and looks like we are almost even here. About a little less than a second differential between the two.
Ooh, this is a hot race right here. I think it's time for a little product placement. Bergs, would you like to do the honors?
No. I think it's been over memed.
Product placement has been denied. Maybe we'll get the treat on the next race, but bump it. We're going into tank trouble here. Both get shoes, nothing at all to start the room. That's always tough. Shoes again for Johnny there. Death on Sigma's side. So it's been a rough start here. Sigma's able to take a death and use the invulnerability, but Johnny unfortunately loses the orb, gets it a replacement right away though. Gets the grab. Just
right
tough
away
to keep
too.
it. Yeah, that's tough to do right there. Rockets, though, will keep you afloat. Orb again on Sigma's side. So the drops are kind of flowing now after the initial nothingness that these two got.
Yeah, now rockets for Sigma as well, as, yeah, this room can be extremely overwhelming. Then again, for me, collect power-ups is overwhelming, so what do I know?
It can get away from me, you know. Sometimes those foot soldiers, they get wily. But here we go. Orb on Sigma's side, going to be looking for that ball buster. Does get the rockets as well, so going to be able to probably take out the gunners, and does. See this ball buster here. Going to go from it from the right side. That is tough and just barely late. That was very close. Invulnerability on Johnny's side, so nothing. And another empty drop for Johnny.
Oh, there's a spreader, gets run over, though, in the process, trying to get a couple of shots in. And now grenades and... All right, game, can we get some weapons, please?
Yeah, this is, a little tough on the the switch up there. Does get the arm pop. Sigma's going to be getting the arm popped as well. Grenades now for Johnny. Just getting a little bit of damage, but that's going to run out soon enough. And just shoes. Now grenades on Sigma's side. They're pecking away, but not getting ideally what they want here.
Now switch up to rockets as both arms popped off on Sigma's side and gets zapped trying to go for that key to force another spawn. We'll see if a spreader pops up here. This will be ideal, and it's more rockets.
Rockets versus lobbers. Johnny has a little bit of the advantage here. Is able to get some of those in the sweet spot. Rockets into grenades for Sigma does have the chest pop as well. They're both, again, neck and neck. Unfortunate shrapnel angle right there. Isn't able to get to the key. We'll have invulnerability with this spawn. Some manual from Johnny, but unfortunately takes it
Sigma,
down.
though, not going to be able to get a lot of
Wow.
time. We're going to have to manual most of it.
And it's doing all right with it. Both have head caught. This is going to
Grenade
be...
blocked. Yes, it is, but here's another grenade. Who's going to be the first to go to final form here? It's going to be JonnyLink.
Johnny with the lobbers, then getting into the grenades. Definitely going to need another item or two. Spreaders is probably not even going to do it. It's not a lot of damage. Does get lobbers, though. If he can nail these shots, it might be it.
Sigma on final form as well, but it's going to be just too little too late as JonnyLink is going to take it here by a few seconds. We are going to be evened up at 1. JonnyLink going to finish with about a 651, low 652. And Sigma, it's going to be 658. So not even, I mean, roughly 6 seconds between the two. But with that, we are even at 1 apiece.
Really just kind of one of those ones that neither got a great spreader. Both had to do some manuals there, and you just had a Mutoid Mans that were just shaking all around, basically. Made it really tough to get any kind of good manual. It was a rough go as far as just getting kind of consistent weapons that did well. A lot of rockets and grenades in that, but some good lobber play, I would say. Some good lobber shots in there. That's kind of what you needed to get it done, and Johnny's able to take it and even up that series 1-1.
All right, so now what was a best of 5 is now a best of 3.
Get our runners counted in here. We'll be starting game 3 shortly. Let's hear it in chat. What you all thinking? Who's going to be taking this split right here to start to get the advantage and be a game away from taking this series? Should be another highly contested one. That was a nail biter for sure.
Oh, it definitely was. And to reiterate, this is an elimination match, so the winner will advance in the bonus bracket because this is a double elimination tournament, and the loser will unfortunately be eliminated. The winner of this gets to face the 7 seed, our own Mr. Dino 023, who we appreciate operating GG_speedruns here and allowing us to bring this to you as he has over the course of the last 5 years. 5, wow. That just hit. That's right, since tournament 4.
We've been doing this for a long time, Bergs. Good luck. It's great. It's a glorious thing. I've brought it up before. I'll bring it up every time. It's awesome to see kind of where this community, how much it's been built up, and being able to come over to GG Speedruns for the annual tournament has just been all that more awesome. Always great stuff, great production, and a whole lot of fun of being in here with you all. So it's great to see. But here we go into game number 3. Both get the Razor Shield, both setting their lines here. Sigma having to run over a little bit because these grenades kind of mess up some things here. So Johnny will probably be out a little earlier, but dead close. Negligible lead at the best.
Yeah, negligible lead for JonnyLink. Sigma, unfortunately, that second drop was grenades kind of on the feed as she was running along there. That's kind of one of those, it's unfortunate, but there's not really much you can do about it because, I mean, it was an instantaneous blink and you miss it appearance, and there's no way to dodge it in that short a period of time. But as we can see, what else is negligible apart from the lead? The drops here. Grenades. We have the boots or feet, but there we go. We get an orb. The game replenishing my commentator curse from earlier. And now spreaders to complement it, and game equal opportunity. Now spreaders in an orb for JonnyLink.
That's what we like to see. The equal opportunity drops a little later for Johnny, but the spreader helped kind of even that out. Getting out at about a 128 or so was Sigma right there. About a 132 was Johnny. So only a few seconds here as we go to eat my shrapnel. Those swirls sometime being a little tricky, but yeah, both get through right here. And with the Razor on Sigma's side, should be easy enough room. Johnny should be the same here after this initial group of foot soldiers, yeah, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, this is a room where you can lose time, but it's very difficult to gain time on your opponent.
Yeah, it could get away from you sometimes if you don't have that orb for sure. Just you're looking for drops. You maybe get the worst stuff right there, and before you know it, sometimes it's not even the shrapnel. Sometimes it's the foot soldiers that you haven't been paying attention to because you've had nothing and you've only been focusing on the shrapnel. Rockets for Johnny, able to just squirrel out of the corner right there. That was a bit tricky.
Doing a little bit of dancing there, a little bailamos, and might, I don't know, might or might not go for this nuke here. Is going to leave it be. Was possibly, you could possibly use that to clear the enemies in the room and get a bit of a breather, but it also interrupts the spawn rate, so it's a bit of a risk-reward type option whether or not one wants to use the nukes. There's one right at Sigma's feet, and I was hoping that was the end of the room, but was not quite yet. Going to be a few more spawns, and now this will be the end of the room, heading into the bonus room at just under 60 or 307, I should say.
Yeah, very nicely done. Sigma just got that razor early, was able to hold that room for the most part. Johnny, yeah, a little bit of dancing right there, got a little bit more interesting. But here we go, game 3, and we're back here, and I'll do it. We're here with product placement. It's Taco Bell product placement with Taco Bell. Go get yourself a Baja Blast and one of those new cantina dealies, whatever, tacos, burritos. It's the same old stuff, but they've rebranded it again. So here you go.
Oh man, and of course credit to Kung Pao Enter the Fist for that line that has been used a bit. We try to do just one per stream or one per race. I almost had wishful thinking on that as Sigma loses the orb.
Bergs is done. He's done with the Taco Bell. We need to find a new sponsor. I think that's what it is. But here we go. Rockets for JonnyLink here. Unfortunately, yeah, with the orb loss. Rockets for Sigma as well. So yeah, sometimes you can't help it. Losing the orb is very easy in this room. But if you get the rockets, you kind of keep yourself afloat. Out at about 125 or so is Sigma, so quite a bit of a lead though.
But as we know, Mutoid Man can do Mutoid Man things. All right, just getting past the swirl, and now is going to utilize the spreader to start here, and does get gunned down by those gunners, but is able to get at least a decent bit of damage. The grenades should pop off that first arm, and does. Now going to switch up to the rockets. We do have, oh no, both gunners are still on, but the lobbers here should be able to take care of that. JonnyLink now in here as well, just not getting any drops and trying to use the pea shooter to take out the gunners up front, and now focus on Mutoid Man here, but is already trailing 2 forms, and there's a spreader drop. Sigma taking the death for it, and this is going to just push the lead significantly here. Gets 2 forms off, open, head popped off, and already is on the penultimate form. JonnyLink, meanwhile, gets a spreader, can't grab it, or can grab it, but can't do much with it as Mutoid Man decides to run over like a tank here. And Sigma, final form, and yeah, I don't even know if an immaculate spreader is going to help here at this point, as Sigma does take race number 3, and will be up 2-1 here, going right around 6 minutes. I think this will be a it's right on the 6 dot. Yeah, 6 even basically, or just under 6:01.
Yeah, I mean, that was a blink and you'll miss it moment right there. That Mutoid absolutely melted before us. Just a really great already spreader point, and then Mutoid kind of moved to the left right at that same time. Sigma making a great play on her side and being able to cut that off, and just got a prime spreader right there. Just took out like 2.5 forms like it was nothing, it felt like. So
Melting is a good term, because yeah, if you get a spreader in that right position and you can get that 27 times damage with the invulnerability rocking, I mean, yeah, Mutoid Man starts to melt like the Wicked Witch of the West and the Wizard of Oz.
It's amazing how much of a nuisance this boss could be, but man, if you just get the right thing, you could be finished up pretty quick. It could be kind of easy. It's nice. Unfortunately, now that I said that, it will get probably the 3-minute mutoid in our next race. I'm sure of it. Hopefully not for our runners. I don't hope that on anybody.
Oh, what a world, what a world. All right, and JonnyLink has finished up here. The game finally stopped trolling, gets out at about a 7:17. But that notwithstanding, it is match point here for Sigmafan as we enter race number 4. JonnyLink looking to force the decider. Sigmafan looking to finish it up and advance and eliminate JonnyLink from the tournament.
Yeah, this is kind of one of those things. It is this is a tough one, and really, I think Johnny played it mostly pretty well. I mean, there was a little bit of separation definitely going into tank trouble, but once those drops happened in good old Mutoid, there was nothing you could do about that. So just kind of shakes down to that. Let's see how these two runners, who gets that first orb? Do we get Sigmafan pulling out to that early lead? All to be told. Let's get into game 4. I'll count these guys down.
Yeah, the other challenge would be at this juncture of the tournament. I mean, you got to call Martha and the Vandellas because there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. There's no easy enemy or no easy opponents at this point, and in some cases, no easy enemies, as we've seen with the shrapnels and the wall gunners and all the other things throughout those various rooms of the Easy Percent Smash TV tournament here.
But that is one thing. I think both these runners, even though I would say Sigma, she's probably pretty happy with that low 6-minute run by the end of it. But I think both probably a little disappointed in that tank trouble play, just because it's gotten quite squirrely. Like I don't think either has been able to hold the orb for the entirety of it. The drops definitely not being ideal, but I think that's always one of those things. If you're able to be able to hold that center a little bit, get maybe 1 or 2 drops to really keep you afloat in that room, it really starts to separate you. Sigma got quite a bit of a lead in that last one, even without the orb at the end there. So we'll see how it goes this one. Game 4 starting up right here, and let's see who gets out with the whole shot.
Well, it looks like it's going to be ever so slightly JonnyLink just from Sigma not being all the way at the end of the door, but it's a negligible difference.
Negligible indeed. That was pretty close. Yeah, I think actually Sigma finished just a bit before, but yeah, had another 2-3 steps to go right there. So it ended up going to Johnny on the right side. Wow, what an orb grab right there. That was a bit of a risky one. You have to know how that orb spawns in that 2 o'clock position, as we've said before, to go for that grab, because there was the foot soldiers right in Sigma's face. Rockets and then the orb. That was a lot closer on JonnyLink's side. That 2 o'clock position almost got it lost. But with the Rockets, it's going to be able to keep this afloat. And yeah, pretty good for both our runners. Getting out at that low 120 time, 122, I think, for both.
Yep, a similarly negligible difference as we enter Eat My Shrapnel. Taking care of the swirls, and now just the shrapnels, a little bit of a break from the foot soldiers, but here they come back in.
And now you're just kind of looking potentially for a rocket drop that you'll just be able to float the rest of the way. Spreader, yeah, Sigma will go for this spreader. That does do some nice damage. A good, you just aim wherever and you pretty much hit something. Another spreader on Sigma's side. So yeah, gonna use the pea shooter as much as possible, then grab that at the last moment, hoping to conserve some ammo there. I don't think either will get rockets going out though. Yeah, but the spreader is a nice little advantage for this beginning. You got enemies all over the place here. Takes those down, and then rockets for Sigma. There you go.
But yeah, still the lead is maybe a fraction of a second here, as or a very small fraction, I should say. Definitely less than a second as we enter Total Carnage, and it's just, yeah, the spawn rate increases, and it's a matter of trying to hold things down, and easier said than done.
Yeah, this room is a tricky one. It's the first one where I think the spawn rate really starts to put the pressure on you if you don't fire with good firing lanes here. You could have some bad drops too. If you get the grenades or a smart bomb or something that you're not really trying to pick up, you get that in the center, it makes it a real problem, a real chance to lose the orb here, both with razors, both with the orb, and both getting into that secret room. Very low 3 minutes, so this is pretty tight race here, going into tank trouble. Very nice to see.
You know what? I'm gonna shake things up a little bit here. Here's your new sponsor, Captain Freedom's workout video. Okay, it was worth a try. Into tank trouble. Here we go.
Oh, we get behind this. All right. We gotta get some momentum. We gotta get some emotes probably, but we'll figure it out. Rockets for Sigma right there, able to clear out that room very nicely. Take out the gunners. Get the spreader too. That is a big tank trouble opening for Sigma. Pretty comfortable. Johnny does get the rockets too and has been able to keep that orb healthy, so able to catch back up. Very nice. This is the sort of start to a tank trouble you want to see.
Sigma, unfortunately, losing the orb to a purple foot soldier, is trying to hang on here with spreaders and a now worn out invulnerability, but there's a replacement of that. JonnyLink continuing to hold the middle, decides not to go with the nuke on the edge here. Definitely going to leave that dude alone. That's a one-up that they don't really need at this point. It doesn't help in terms of firepower.
And you got Sigma with the entry, about a 417, 418, about a 420 entry for Johnny. That is a stellar time right there that you love to see it. Yeah, both these runners flying right now as we go into Mutoid, man. Both with lobbers, and there's the ball buster from Johnny. We finally get to see it. Very nice.
That being said, both still on the same. Well, now the arm popping off here, but here's a spreader for Johnny. Oh, is Mutoid gonna block it? No, does not.
Can't set the block fully. And another one. He might take the death for this. It's gonna be very close because it's a delayed death, but he gets there.
That's it. Wow. And an invulnerability. Go get that.
And like it melts off. The melting that happened in the last run, this is even more on JonnyLink's side. Unfortunately, dies on the shake with the grenades, but down to Final Four before you know it.
That Wicked Witch apropos at this point here is that comparison from before. Only, yeah, that was just, whew, this is a spicy time.
This is a PB, I believe, for Johnny, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Yeah, that's gotta be. And Johnny smokes it.
Out of it, 542.
542. That is a 7-second PB for JonnyLink. Let's go.
That's going to vault him up to somewhere in the upper 20s, depending on how the frame count is. Probably 21st, just over Easyation, well, yeah, probably just underneath a Deller, and yeah, either 21st or maybe 22nd, just above John Phoenix. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, fantastic PB, and that sends us to a Game 5.
With the tournament on the line, I need to go to Game 5. Johnny pulls out a fantastic 2 spreaders in there, takes a second death, a delayed death that was even very close. The invulnerability, that all lined up for JonnyLink. Well done right there. And we're going to Game 5. Let's go.
Just sharing the news in Brysolf's channel on the cell phone here because trying to do multiple things at once. Dealing with WrestleMania, Smash TV, Tecmo Rando Bowl. This is cutting into tailgating time, but it's okay.
I mean, nothing better to tailgate with than some good old Smash TV. And here we go. I'll count them in. Game 5, y'all. Who's taking it?
You know what? Let me see if I can put up the what is that here? The points and the betting and the things.
People love the points and the betting and things. Let's see it. Who y'all got? We're going into game 5. We count our runners down. Is it going to be Sigmafan? Is it going to be JonnyLink with a new PV? And yeah, on the board. That's amazing. You love to see that in a tournament. The pressure on, you need to take this game, and you deliver. You absolutely deliver. Here we go, game 5.
So here we go, heading into Arena 1. I might have let that go a little bit longer than I wanted to with a 2-minute prediction, but go ahead and put your points in for the prediction. Bet with your head, not over a gambling problem. According to Brysolf, call 1-800-MIX-A-LOT. I like big bets and I cannot lie.
Baby got bets. Let's go as we see the nuke. Yeah, Johnny's able to time that there. I was wondering. I was like, you got the opportunity to use that. Is able to keep it pretty close. 40 for, or just about a 41 maybe for Sigma. And Johnny maybe a couple tenths after that. Negligible lead at the best.
Lots of negligible differences heading into collect power-ups here. And let's see what our first drop is. Delayed on both. We've got a spreader and a nuke respectively here for JonnyLink and Sigmafan. Sigma's going to leave the nuke alone and is going to go for the spreader here because it's going to increase the firepower somewhat, but they're both looking for that orb. Johnny gets an orb.
Yeah, looking good. Some good drops for Johnny early. Gets that spreader to pair with that orb as well. Really take care of business there. The smart bomb on Sigma side, unfortunately, going to lose a little bit of time, but does get rewarded with the orb. So won't come out quite as fast, but has those equal opportunity drops there. That's what we like to see.
Now working on the ring of soldiers there is going to pick up a razor shield as well. You like to see that early in the room as opposed to later, as it just helps you keep your firing lanes on the shrapnels, and the razor shield, it kind of gets chipped away at by the soldiers, but it helps you keep your firing lanes in the middle to be able to take care of those 18 Mr. Shrapnels.
Yeah, both pretty much decided for the room there. The nuke down low. Unfortunately, Sigma couldn't grab that if she wanted to anyways because of the razor shield right there. We'll get out. Yeah, again, no real loss right there. So lead stays the same for JonnyLink. Let's see how it opens up. Sigma gets the rockets right here. So yeah, we'll be able to make some good headway right here. Gets to the center. Unfortunately, grenades on the feet kind of spoils that whole thing. But then gets the razors, and they both got razors. They're both going to be sitting nice and comfy here in the center.
Those grenades on the feet in a room like this, I mean, call the Beastie Boys because it's a sabotage.
You know, sometimes I do enjoy that song, but yeah, sometimes it's not the time for the sabotage and not the time game. But here we go with our runners. Spreader on Sigmafan. That's not in the greatest spot, and we'll just ignore it. Probably a very smart idea right there. Johnny, I don't know if that nuke even mattered right there, but is able to get out of the room in a nice, another low 3 time right there. Sigma should be able to join at about 3:11 or so. So about maybe 8 seconds or so as far as the lead, but Tank Trouble is going to decide a lot right here.
It most certainly is. Yeah, I know I've been very laughy jokey, but I mean this is serious here. We're talking game 5. We are talking elimination match here. Whoever wins this will stay in the tournament. Whoever loses will be eliminated.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. I mean, we are getting to those stages of the tournament. This is a lower bracket, I believe, a round 3 matchup right here. It's getting pretty tight. There's a lot of good runners that are going to be having to go through these very same things. Game 5s, tournament on the line. Can you do it? Rockets, though, will help on Johnny's side. Spreader on Sigma's side. Both doing very well with the orb so far in Tank Trouble.
Yep, just trying to hold down the middle. And an observation here as JonnyLink gets into Mutoid Man at 413. That nuke at the end of Total Carnage, that did actually save a little bit of time because it destroyed the exploding shrapnels before they went all the way out to the screen. So it probably saved about a second or two.
funny. Not actual enemies at that point, but probably more deadly than anything are those little shrapnel fragments that could get away from you there. Here we go. We got lobbers for Sigma, or sorry, lobbers for Johnny here. Sigma gets the spreader, but yeah, not exactly the best position. Does try to get some manual, but unfortunately, Gunners get it for the death right there.
There are some rockets to finish off there, neither getting the ball buster with their respective orbs. Sigma foregoing it to try to get some spreader damage in, and JonnyLink just a little off on the aim, as we have both arms popped off for JonnyLink, and Sigma now getting the first arm popped off, but there's an empty drop, an invulnerability.
Yeah, that's not the greatest right there. Grenades will help, but then, yeah, lobbers, just a little bit better drops on Johnny's side. Mutoid not being great with the positioning, though. This is kind of tricky. Sigma getting the lobbers as well, but yeah, that's going to be still that form lead up right now. That's kind of been holding true so far. Oh, and the laser, though, on Johnny's side, that might even them things up. Gonna mother hen these rockets.
Sitting on it, Mother Hen isn't able to get the rockets at the very end, though. And now the head popping off for JonnyLink, and well, Sigma gonna go for the, I guess, Telio death as it's known. And there's a spreader.
That's
He
a big
must have
one.
seen it. I missed it. And that's gonna give Sigma the lead back here. Final form.
And now, oh my God, down to the final form for JonnyLink. This is very close. Grenades on both sides, but Johnny's not gonna be able to get that one after the death. Unfortunately, lobbers gotta nail these lobber shots. Sigma gets it, I believe.
Yes, and lands it, and Sigma is gonna take the victory here, but wow, this was close.
Oh, it really came down to it. That unfortunate death for Johnny. Maybe the grenades, you're able to keep that afloat right there. That death, and just enough damage. It's gonna be within a handful of seconds here.
Yeah, just a little over 10 seconds here. It's going to be a 6:29 beats a 6:41. So, yeah, about a 12-second difference. But, I mean, this could have gone either way. It was back and forth all the way through the race. It was extremely tight. And, yeah, Sigma is going to advance. Unfortunately, JonnyLink is eliminated, but a gallant effort, to say the least. And, yeah, I mean, GG's to both runners. Exactly. Telio, one who will be joining us for a showcase, I believe, along with Tetsuo, leading into their... They go from good friends to better enemies as they face off against one another in the upper level bracket, as they are the 4 and 5 seeds. And I believe their fate is the top seed of the tournament in CHX and our current world record holder as well.